Close your eyes and imagine standing on the north bank of the River Thames. It is early morning. The tide is moving slowly upriver. There are no glass towers, no traffic, no bridges crowded with buses. Instead, in front of you stands a crumbling Roman wall, half collapsed and overgrown with weeds. Inside it, silence. This is London in the 6th century, or rather, what used to be London. To understand how that happened and how London eventually returned, we need to go back to the beginning. Roman Londinium, a provincial powerhouse. Londinium was founded shortly after the Roman conquest of Britain in AD 43. Its location was strategic, the lowest point on the Thames where a bridge could be built connecting roads that spread north and west into the province. By the 2nd century, Londinium was a provincial powerhouse. Its population likely ranged between 30,000 and 45,000, vast by British standards. Stone buildings lined paved streets arranged in a grid. There was a massive forum and basilica complex, administrative heart of the city. Public bathhouses with heated floors, temples, warehouses, an amphitheater where crowds once gathered. Ships docked daily along the Thames, bringing wine from Gaul, olive oil from Spain, fine pottery and luxury goods from across the empire. Around AD 200, thick defensive walls were built, not temporary timber palisades, but enduring stone fortifications. Londinium was not Rome, but it was unmistakably Roman, and it functioned as part of something larger, a vast imperial machine. The fragile machine. The Roman Empire was a system of interconnected networks. Grain grown in North Africa fed cities in Italy. Taxes moved across provinces. Soldiers were paid in coin. Engineers repaired roads and bridges. Trade routes were secured by imperial power. Londinium was plugged into that system. When Rome weakened in the late 4th and early 5th centuries, the damage was not immediately dramatic. There were no instant explosions, no single apocalyptic event. Instead, maintenance stopped. Troops were withdrawn to defend continental borders. Tax collection faltered. Imperial administrators disappeared. In AD 410, the Emperor Honorius reportedly told Britain to look to its own defense. That was less a command and more a confirmation. The empire had unplugged Britain. And when a city loses the networks that sustain it, decline follows quietly. Bathhouses stop heating, roof tiles go unrepaired, imported goods disappear from markets. Coin circulation collapses. Without coin, large-scale trade shrinks. Without trade, urban life contracts. Stone buildings remain, but systems fail. A city can survive war. It struggles to survive neglect. Walking through a vanishing city. Imagine entering Londinium around the year 500. The eastern gate still stands, but weathered. You step onto cracked paving stones. Grass pushes through them. A grand Roman townhouse leans inward, half collapsed. Its mosaic floor lies exposed beneath open sky. Rainwater pools in what was once an elegant courtyard. Livestock graze inside former public squares. A bath complex has become a quarry, locals removing dressed stone blocks to reuse elsewhere. Some families still live here. Large Roman halls are subdivided with timber partitions. Smoke escapes through broken roof lines. Children play among ruins already centuries old. To them, Rome is not memory. It is mystery. The Forum no longer hosts officials. The amphitheater lies buried in silence. The basilica decays. The Roman city as an administrative organism has ceased to function. It has not exploded. It has thinned. And something subtle but profound has shifted. Identity. Memory and change. For those living in post-Roman London, the transition may not have felt catastrophic. Latin inscriptions faded gradually. Roman names blended with emerging Anglo-Saxon ones. Did they still consider themselves Roman, or something new? History rarely announces its endings. It shifts quietly. A generation raised among ruins adapts rather than mourns. Roman bricks are reused in hearths. Temples become workshops. Streets become pasture. Urban life shrinks, but does not fully vanish. And then, slowly, it moves. By the 7th century, a new settlement appears, but not inside the Roman walls. About a mile to the west, near what is now Covent Garden and the Strand, an Anglo-Saxon trading settlement develops. We call it Lundenwic. The word wick suggests a market settlement, a port. This was not a Roman city of monumental stone and imperial bureaucracy. It was something different. Walk along the Thames in the 8th century, and the atmosphere is alive. Timber buildings line muddy lanes. Workshops hum with activity. Metalworkers strike iron. Weavers spin wool. Glass beads are shaped in small furnaces. You hear Old English spoken in markets. Frankish traders bargain. Perhaps Frisian merchants unload goods from shallow draft ships pulled onto the riverbank. The smell is strong. Fish, tar, wood smoke, livestock. Silver is weighed on small scales, not counted in stamped coin. Trade networks reconnect London to the North Sea world. It is smaller than Roman Londinium, perhaps only a few thousand inhabitants, but it is alive again. Not Roman, but resilient. Faith returns. Christianity reestablishes itself gradually. Missionaries sent from Rome in the late 6th century begin rebuilding ecclesiastical structure. Somewhere near the old Roman center, a wooden cathedral dedicated to St. Paul rises. Inside, candles flicker. Latin prayers echo softly. Outside, older traditions persist. Conversion is not immediate. It is layered. Church bells begin marking time, morning prayer, midday, evening. In a world without mechanical clocks, bells structure life. Monks copy manuscripts, charters are written, property boundaries recorded. Where imperial bureaucracy once maintained records, the church now preserves continuity. London rebuilds not only economically, but intellectually. The Viking shock. Then, in the late 8th century, sails appear on the horizon. Long, narrow ships cut through river mist. The Thames provides a direct highway inland. Imagine dawn breaking. A lookout spots approaching vessels. Within minutes, alarm spreads. Traders gather valuables. Livestock scatter. Smoke rises from timber buildings set aflame. In 842 and again in 851, Viking forces attack London. Lundenwic, open and undefended, is vulnerable. Repeated raids do more than destroy property. They alter psychology. Merchants hesitate to build permanent structures. Wealth is kept portable: silver, jewelry, livestock. Confidence erodes, and cities require confidence. Without safety, trade withers. In 842 and again in 851, Viking forces attack London. Lundenwic, open and undefended, is vulnerable. Repeated raids do more than destroy property. They alter psychology. Merchants hesitate to build permanent structures. Wealth is kept portable: silver, jewelry, livestock. Confidence erodes, and cities require confidence. Without safety, trade withers. In 886, King Alfred of Wessex retakes London. But his response is strategic. Instead of rebuilding the exposed riverside settlement, he moves the population back inside the old Roman walls. Those ancient fortifications, though centuries old, still stand. Streets are reorganized, plots measured deliberately, gates fortified. This becomes Londonburh, the fortified borough. It forms part of Alfred's burh system, defended towns across his kingdom designed to resist Viking attack. Urban planning now follows military logic. Walls create security. Security encourages investment. Investment creates growth. Coin minting increases significantly in the late 9th and 10th centuries. London becomes economically central once again. It has returned to its Roman footprint, but it is no longer Roman. It is Anglo-Saxon. Dawn breaks over the Roman wall. A baker rises before sunrise. Ovens are stoked with wood. The smell of fresh bread drifts through narrow lanes. A blacksmith strikes iron in a dim workshop. Sparks scatter across packed earth floors. Women draw water from wells. Merchants arrange goods along timber stalls. Fishmongers clean their morning catch beside the Thames. Church bells mark the hours. Waste is dumped into pits or into the river. Fire remains a constant danger in tightly packed neighborhoods. The population may number several thousand, smaller than Roman Londinium at its peak, but stable, functional, alive. The city has inhaled again. Environment and hinterland. London's survival was not only political, it depended on the surrounding countryside. Agricultural productivity supported urban growth. Climate fluctuations affected harvests. Good years strengthened trade. Poor years scattered populations. Cities rely on hinterlands. London's hinterland recovered slowly over centuries. As rural stability improved, urban life strengthened. The city was part of a larger ecosystem: economic, environmental, social. Before the Normans. By the early 11th century, London had become politically powerful. Royal assemblies were held there. Foreign traders operated along its quays. Silver pennies minted in London circulated widely. Under King Canute in the early 11th century, London stood at the center of governance. 5 centuries earlier, it had nearly emptied. Now it shaped kingdoms. That transformation is extraordinary. When William of Normandy invaded England in 1066, he did not ignore London. He understood its wealth and influence. Rather than destroy it, he secured it. The Tower of London rose beside the Thames, its white tower visible from miles. Stone returned in monumental form. It was a declaration of permanence. Under Norman rule, administration centralized further. Stone churches multiplied. Trade expanded. London grew outward beyond the Roman walls once more. But this time, continuity held. London would burn in 1666. It would endure plague. It would be bombed in the 20th century. But it would never again nearly vanish as it had after Rome. Final reflection. Cities feel permanent when we see them at their height. Skylines suggest inevitability. But London teaches a different lesson. Power can withdraw. Trade can collapse. Walls can crumble. In the 6th century, This place may have seemed destined for obscurity, an abandoned Roman outpost at the edge of a forgotten empire. Grass growing through marble, wind echoing through empty streets. But geography mattered, the river remained, and human adaptation endured. London did not inherit greatness. It rebuilt it, from ruins, from timber huts, from defended walls, layer by layer. Beneath modern glass towers lie Roman mosaics. Beneath financial institutions lie Saxon workshops. Beneath traffic noise lies the outline of a nearly lost city. The next time you cross the Thames, imagine it without bridges, without skyscrapers, without crowds. Just tidewater moving past broken Roman walls. For a moment in history, that was London. And from that silence, it began again.